The fact that the All-Star voting's out there, he's not even close to Diamond Prox, and yet if you look at the stats, he's right up there with him.
He's doing his job perfectly for his team, though. He's setting up his carries to actually pick everything up. He's setting it up so that Soaz and Xpeke can pick up the kills, control the map, and control the game. So, like you said, the unsung hero, I'd like to see what he decides to play this time, because he has been playing a fair amount of both Nasus and Volibear of late. 6 games of Nasus, 4 games of Volibear.
Well, we see the bans coming thick and fast. You can see Cassidy, Kha'Zix, and Kennen banned out. Lux and Renekton. And of course, that's AP Kennen targeted towards Soaz. Some like a champion that really a lot of teams around the world, a lot of top teams have started to pick up. We've seen it in the Chinese LPL, we've seen it in the Korean OGN, and of course the American LCS as well. So right now, it's definitely a champion of choice across the board. Thresh being banned out, and it looks like Zed will be the first pick.
So Zed locked in. Shen is still available, as is Volibear and Nasus. So a lot of those high priority top laners and junglers still there. Also point out that Varus is available there for Yellow Star, as is Leona for Enrated. So there's a lot of comfort picks that both of these teams can fall back to and actually secure for their team. Kayle is still there as well, and Kayle tends to be a fairly good counter to the likes of Zed. Is going to be able to just put that intervention, block that burst damage down, and we actually seen that last weekend with the Copenhagen Wolves versus Gambit matchup where Alex was playing Kayle. So we'll see how these teams do decide to lock in, and it does look like they're going to go for those comfort picks.
Yeah, they're going to go for Nasus. So currently 6 wins and 6 picked for Cyanide with that Nasus. Can he make it 7 for 7? So as locking in Varus, of course, for Yellow Star. Yellow Star also in contention for that votes right now. It was definitely up and around there, and honestly, it's 80 carries for All-Stars. It's definitely a tricky pick for me, because we've seen, there's really a big balance across, but nevertheless, we'll get on with this game, and looking like Twisted Fate may well come out for Froggen here.
So Twisted Fate has been locked in. It's a champion that we haven't seen too much out of Froggen this particular season. Only 3 games out of his entirety, and he's only got 2 wins with them. But seeing Krepo back on Leona is really exciting for me, because before Enrated really got super popular and sort of known as one of the best Leonas, it was Krepo that was tearing teams apart with her. So I want to see how this performs. We don't have the 80 carry locked in yet, but Caitlyn is available, Graves is available. There's a number of picks that they can go with depending on who they want to lock in. So it immediately tells you a good aggressive comp. You've got map, you've got CC, and if you've got Twisted Fate going in with gold card, you can pick up kills in bottom lane thanks to the CC of Leona, and kills in the top lane thanks to the damage of Zed.
Yeah, and of course Krepo's Leona was really, his key highlight was probably the OGN finals against CG Enters Frost, that, well, used to be a Zubu Frost at the time. So looking like the bear, of course, if the dog's picked, somebody has to pick the bear. He has seemed to be the junglers of choice across the world right now, and there is Misfortune as well. So final pick, what will Peke go with?
Well, I want to touch on that Volibear for a brief second, because we've seen Snoopy running Volibear, over the course of the season, but it hasn't been particularly impressive when we think of his performances. He seems to struggle a little bit on terms of those engaged champions, similar to Jarvan. We see him going and picking battles where sometimes he really shouldn't. So I hope he's got a little bit more practice with it, and obviously having Krepo there with Leona, that's going to help his cause, because they're going to have 2 of those initiation champions coming in, having Twisted Fate, Zed, and Misfortune sort of in the back line, dealing damage and making sure they're relatively safe. The Nunu was locked in earlier with Yellow Star, and of course the Nunu-Varus combination is very, very scary. Blood Boil plus Ice Blast means the early level trades is definitely going to go in favor of Fnatic during the laning phase.
So Katarina currently being selected, N-rated. Extreme close-up, I think it's safe to say, on N-rated there, into the eyes of the support. Of the German support as well, of course.
Eyes of the tiger.
N-rated. He's it's evidently the voice behind Fnatic as well, as we've heard a number of times. So he's gone back to the old classic of Nunu alongside it. That Blood Boil, it's going to be working wonders on Varus.
Yeah, completely. Going to help him get those Blighted Quiver stacks very early on, allow him to reposition and just really kite his opposing team, which is going to help against the melee Zed and the melee Leona. I'm interested to see the pickup here from Xpeke of Katarina, because there's quite a few interrupts that can come in from his opposing teams. The flip from Volibear, gold card from Twisted Fate, as well as all the CC that Krepo can put down. And there's going to be a lot of pressure now on Krepo's Leona to shut down Peke in those team fights. I want to see if he's going to go to teleport. It's what we've been seeing out of him in the past, the teleport flash on his cat.
Evil Geniuses as the blue and Fnatic as the red side. If you have just joined us, you've just missed Gambit taking down the first match against Dragonborns in a very tightly fought match, honestly. Much tighter than many of us would have suspected for second or now first versus last. Though EG, Can they stay out of it? Oh my god, they're going in.
Now take a look at this. Fnatic are a little bit there. Gold card's ready. They're going to catch him.
They're going to get onto it. Soaz is going to be the target. They get the double up. The flip comes in. The ignite's there. One more hit. The shield comes out. Is the ignite going to be enough? The heal comes out. Can he manage to survive from this one? No, he won't. The stun card finally comes out from Froggen, and it's Froggen that picks up first blood.
Evil Geniuses grab that first blood, and it goes to Froggen, the man that really needs to get an advantage early, and if a Twisted Fate can start destining around a little earlier with items thanks to that gold advantage, it's going to be so powerful. Fnatic effectively just face-checked. They pulled an Evil Geniuses, like when EG face-checked against Gambit all those weeks ago.
Interesting choice. He's gone back and got himself the Fortitude pot. So he wants to go full on aggression against Peke, and that's kind of what he needs to do. We've seen Peke against the Twisted Face. It was Dade before that used to be on SK Telecom T1, where he did his ultimate. If you remember when he did the ultimate, back down to the bottom, came up with 0 hit points.
Now, that red pot is also a get-out-of-jail-free card. If he does decide to go aggressive, he can pick up the kill. Alternatively, if he gets collapsed upon, he can save himself from that Wither and Katarina combo. We see the Volibear picking up the experience and the CS of those double golems again. So I'd like to see if Snoopy picks up the big golem. He may have actually grabbed the little one or the big one, but nevertheless, splitting that XP around, it's the same as what we've seen Gambit doing in the previous matchup, and it just means that Snoopy's going to get to that level 2, level 3 point a little bit quicker.
So Snoopy with the red buff, going to be helping him out a hell of a lot, in fact, making sure he doesn't smite it down. And it's, you know, Evil Geniuses are one of those teams that talk heavily about their level 1 strat. They would have scouted Fnatic's start, and that may well be finally paying dividends for them in this opening game against Fnatic.
Yeah, that's so true. You know, the fact that they knew exactly where their opponents were, they were stacked up tightly, they got the stun down, and, you know, very key, they didn't burn more summoner spells than they needed to in that particular engagement. And you've seen there was a lot of wards picked up from the side of Evil Geniuses, so they're going to have vision control for the next couple of minutes at the very least. In terms of how the matchup is going to go, we'll have to see how these early ganks affect Evil Geniuses or Fnatic, because Fnatic are going to need to catch up. And of course, they've done the lane swap themselves. So we'll see whose CS is better, whether it's going to be Shen or Zed underneath the 2v1 pressure.
You see Froggen throwing out a couple of those wild cards in towards their wicket. Well, he didn't get his wish, unfortunately, despite his Twitter tirade, or friendly banter, I think it's safe to say, between the Soaz and Wicked. And it does mean it's going to be a 2v1 once again between these two, not even remotely close.
It's an interesting 2v1 matchup as well, because you've got Nunu on one side and Leona on the other. So in terms of applying pressure and shutting down your opponent, it's a little bit more difficult with both champions being melee. You've obviously got Leona that can go a little more aggressive and help pick up kills, and Nunu can somewhat harass with that Ice Blast, but it's not your traditional 2v1 matchup, and it may be a little bit slower to get those towers down.
Well, we see Snoopy going towards this bottom lane. As it is, Cyanide's going towards the middle lane. So back and forth action, and Froggen's actually very deep on this one. Now Peke goes in towards it, hasn't hit level 6, he's still only at level 3. Very early attempt at gank here, flashes out of it perfectly across that bush. Meanwhile, the bottom lane, they're diving in towards Soaz. Looks like he's going to get away from this one. The stun's not going to quite land. It did, you saw Crepo using it as much as he could early on, but now they're going to dive down the bottom.
Yeah, take a look at this. Cyanide's trying to push there, and if he gets in time, he may be able to cause some trouble. Soaz still relatively healthy, but Peke was not there. He didn't roam down quickly enough. He does have boots, though, so they may actually have a 3 versus 3 engagement. Luckily for EG, the minions are under the tower, and it means they can get away safely. But do Fnatic want to pick this fight?
Well, that's a lot of time wasted as well for Peke. Indecision between the team. They thought they could maybe try and catch it. There's a lot of damage on that turret. He does prevent the turret going down, but he manages to return to that mid lane. Still, equal CS with Froggen.
Yeah, didn't lose too much, even though the minion wave was against his turret. So at least that'll help him out just a little bit. And Peke actually started the game with the rejuvenation, the total biscuit. So he's gone into the utility tree quite deep. And I'd like to see how that actually affects his matchup. Most likely got some spell vamp masteries, which I'm busy looking at. 9% CDR and 2% spell vamp. So just a little bit from his runes and his masteries.
Of course, while this all happens, it does mean he's buying Wicked time to just keep on defending that top lane, while the bottom lane gets shoved in extraordinarily well by Evil Geniuses. A very much stronger Evil Geniuses we're seeing here. Of course, they said they've practiced a lot for this game, and it seems to be working out, but the moment is Peke keeping the aggression on towards Froggen one time, but he just chugs down those pots and backs away.
Other than that Wither, there's not a lot of CC to hold Froggen in place, and Peke didn't have his Death Lotus available to him, so he wasn't really going to be in pressure of picking up the kill. Soaz gets stunned up and takes a lot of free damage.
Wow, he's just standing perfectly in line grab. Crepo, completely try and zone out as much as he can. Wicked, meanwhile, he's going to wipe out this wave very quickly. And you can see Yellowstar taking a heck of a lot of damage there.
Yeah, good positioning there from Wicked to line up that Shuriken, throw it through the minion wave, and hit Yellowstar at the same time. So very, very good play coming out of that particular matchup. And he's got a very, very strong CS advantage. 23-7 of Soaz. And we'll see how well Soaz can CS underneath the turret, because there's a big wave there and two EG members trying to shove him down.
Yeah, they're going to keep the pressure on. Misfortune of Yellow Pete, keeping the shots coming in towards their Crepo, even put the damage down. They're going to take the tower. It's going to be the first one of the game. It's Yellow Pete that takes it for Evil Geniuses.
Good pressure from EG. They simply shut Soaz's Shen down. They forced him out of the lane very early. He was unable to pick up any creep score at all, and he's going to be relying on that Stand United in the next couple of minutes to really help him get back into this matchup. Without that ultimate for sort of assists, he's going to be very, very crippled as far as golden items are concerned.
And that's a perfectly timed as well, because we see Wicked goes back, picks up that Brutalizer and a ping ward. Now he's going to go to the bottom lane. Or is he? Where is he heading? He's going up the middle, actually. Maybe he's going to go for a bit of a gank somewhere. We'll see where he goes, whether he's going to go towards that top. It is. They are closing in towards that top lane.
So we want to see Yellow Pete and Crepo defending the top lane turret and holding that for as long as possible, defending their farming advantage and gold advantage. Well, the fact that Wicked is level 6 means he has that death mark available, and when comboed with a CC that Leona can put down, it's a very, very scary combination. Evil Geniuses are making it very clear they want blood in this top lane or in this jungle, because there's 4 of them setting up in position. Snoopy is about to walk over a ward, so at the very least, Fnatic will know something is up because they can smell the bear in the air, but they don't know where anybody else is.
Yeah, chopper 1, chopper 2, we have a bear in the air, and it looks like he's going to be coming in from the top lane and the middle. Tribush, can they get on towards this one? You can see Cyanide just sat off the back, ready and waiting for this.
So Cyanide is well aware that something's going to happen, and he's just waiting out of vision. We do see a chain of corruption is there for Yellowstar, and if Enrated can get that absolute 0, it's going to be very, very important. Look for a Destiny from Froggen if he decides to come in, but he's going to need to run very, very far because it's only level 1. This is going to be a 4 versus 3, and here comes the fight.
You can see they're already heading north. Here comes Snoopy going in. Destiny comes down. They do get the flippage. Yellowstar's the target. Deathmark goes down. Stun card goes in. Can they pick up another kill? There's the Deathmark. That manages to pick up the kill. Now we're going to see Stand United come in. It's a 4-on-5. It's a full-on bum rush at the top lane. They're going to get in. It's going to be the Ignite going down. Back on towards Peke. Peke taken low. Snoopy's gone too deep. Snoopy's gone too deep. Peke gets him down. Now they're going to try and chase. Can the Ice Blast come out? They're going to go in towards Yellow Pete. They do try and catch the stun on towards him. Froggen just hiding off, waiting in the wings. Stun card goes through. Wild card comes through. Peke taken low. Flash through. Froggen takes him with the Ignite. Absolute sublime play there from Froggen.
Froggen is back. He goes 2-0-1, and what a dive from Evil Geniuses. They coordinated that perfectly. It was a 4 versus 3, which became a 5 versus 3, and by time Peke got there with Katarina, it was all too late. Snoopy hung around too long and gave up an extra kill that he maybe didn't need to, but Evil Geniuses are not done. They have 4 members here, and they still want to keep the pressure on.
Oh, the poke goes on towards N-Rated. He's going to have to back off now. Now it's a 3-on-2, but I think they're finally going to give up on this one. Froggen now, he's going to get pursued by Yellowstar. He did get the hail of arrows down. Not a great deal of mana for Froggen, but he's going to walk away from this one without any issues, although he's walking straight through a ward. Yellowstar chose not to pursue.
No, not instead. So Yellowstar's just going to CS, try and get that gold advantage as best as he can. His lane opponent does have a BF sword completed already to his Berserker's Greaves, and then Soaz is caught.
He's been caught out. That's going to be Crepo using his ultimate. It's going to go down. Yellow Pete didn't need to use any abilities there at all. Just simply auto-attacks his way to victory.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the perfect example of how to play Leona. He stacked the CC perfectly. By the time that Shield of Daybreak stun wore off, the Solar Flare landed, and Soaz was completely stun-locked. Yellow Pete just stood there, shooting at him, saying, hey, what's up, bro? I got this. And he picks himself up his first kill of the game. 4-1, EG are looking very strong right now.
So for those that are unaware of that, that was his Q followed by his E.
His R,
and then an E as well, so he managed to get that stun as well. So he's managed to get multiple stuns for those that don't exactly know all of the names. Meanwhile, we do see Evil Geniuses. They're going to be taking down the dragon here. So they're going to start on this one. We do see Cyanide moving in towards this one, but he's not going to get close enough. Instead, he's going to have to take blue for Peke. So Evil Genius is going to stretch their lead now. It's going to be a 3,000 gold advantage.
Start pulling that a little further ahead, and because of the kills in the CS lead that Froggen has right now, he's got that needlessly large rod completed already, in comparison to the Sorcerer's Shoes as well as that Hextech Revolver. So Peck is going to be relying on his communication and his map awareness to run to the correct positions, because he simply does not have that teleport to compete with Destiny. And that's obviously going to play into Evil Genius's favor. Froggen's going to have a lot of ability power to just free farm these waves. Red card plus wild card should clear out the waves very, very quickly indeed.
Froggen back down in that bottom lane. CS advantage has actually kind of balanced itself out between the two top laners. So Wicked kind of getting his wish right now. He's getting that 1v1. He has that level advantage, so he's going to try and keep that poke down. Of course, he's got no worries right now because he's got full vision. He can see that Cyanide just passing through that wall by the river, so he has full coverage if he were so to wish to go for this one. Froggen's going to be picking up the blue. Looks like Peke's got himself, I tell a lie, he hasn't got blue. They've kept it onto Cyanide.
No, he wants the cooldown reduction, the ability to spam his abilities and just clear that jungle out a little quicker. But I definitely want to point out how many wards the Evil Geniuses have picked up at the moment. This advantage that they've earned, the entire team has spent money to maintain the vision advantage and make the correct decisions for their team. You see Snoopy there is placing on the ward. Froggen's got two. Even Yellow Pete has got a pink ward in his back pocket, so really keeping it. But Soaz has been jumped on.
He's going to go for this one. Deathmark goes down. Here comes the Destiny. Froggen comes in. Stun card goes down. Wild cards follow. And it's Wicked that picks up the kill. Not quite a 1v1. Doesn't matter. Kills a kill. And it was beautifully assisted there by Froggen.
When you've got Destiny on your team, you never want to go 1v1. You want that fight to be in your advantage. Fnatic are trying to pick up a fight of their own, and they're pushing to this top lane. Yellow Pete and Crepo are aware of it. They have flashes available, with the exception of Crepo. It's going to be a 4 versus 2. Look for Crepo to stun lock and follow it up with bullet time. Very cheeky from Yellow Pete. Is he going to get collapsed upon?
Well, he's going to dive in Peke there, but he does manage to get full vision. And they read that situation like a book. And as it stands, Wicked, well, he's getting free farm and free push on this inner turret. So losing that top turret, not too bad a trade.
The rest of Fnatic look like they want to keep the push up, because you can see that Soaz is respawned. He has Stand United, and they know Snoopy's in the mid lane. So they've lost that mid lane turret, and the rest of Fnatic want the bottom inner turret. They may do a trade here.
They may well do a trade, and you can see, looks like EG quite happy to go for this trade. Crepo goes in a little bit too deep, but they do pick up the kill. As he get a flash, he goes to get away. Absolute Zero comes out, and now Yellow Pete gets dived on.
Wow.
But he does manage to get the kill on towards Peke. But the mid lane, the inner turret in the mid lane, being pushed by Evil Geniuses, they're continuing on here. Froggen and Snoopy, can they do a full-on trade?
What a great play from Evil Geniuses there. They got the kills in the bottom lane. Now Wicked's here to party. Soaz is in trouble.
Stand United had to be used there to try and save out Wicked. They're trying to do the damage on them, and they do take down that mid lane turret. They're going to collapse on the top.
Now take a look at this. You can see Snoopy as well as Froggen running around. Destiny's not available just yet, but it's ticking quickly. 12 seconds left on that ultimate before it's available. Enrated, Yellow Star, and Soaz trying to get to safety, but can they do it?
Well, he managed to get in there. There's going to be the flip. Oh, not quite the right way around. Instead, he goes in towards Enrated. The wildcard comes in. Snoopy picks up the kill, and that is a great kill. And honestly, Evil Geniuses, they are looking hot right now.
5,000 gold lead. EG are everywhere. They are in complete control of this map. They are making the right decisions. They've even got Cyanide out and just put a bunch of free damage onto him. So they're going to be able to get this top lane tower as well and make it 4-1 in terms of turret kills.
So big advantages being picked up by Evil Geniuses here, 3-1. And that equates to 6,000 gold advantage right now. And that's going to be 4-1 any second now. Big difference here. Evil Geniuses, they have certainly looking very good this week. They've turned up ready for action. And this is the Evil Geniuses that honestly we were used to seeing in Season 2, but just really hasn't turned up in Season 3 right now. But they are taking Fnatic by storm right now.
This is arguably a much more aggressive EG as well. They're playing the map a lot more than we're used to seeing out of them. They tend to play a little more passive and farm it up to get towards their items. Thanks to this very big gold lead that we actually seen between the two players, you can see that Wicked has already completed his Black Cleaver. He's got a 2,000 gold lead over his lane opponent, and that's just going to be shredding the armor of his opponents. What that means is all the damage that Yellow Pete's bullet time is going to be dealing will be even more effective at the same time. So a very good combination between the two. And with this strong lead, as long as they don't give away kills or CS, they're poised to win this mid-game completely.
And it's interesting to see that he's 2-0-2 and he's built up the Q this time. So he's put 5 points into that. Very different to what we just saw Yamato Cannon doing against Gambit. And it worked well for Yamato Cannon as well. So, I don't know, some would say there's many different ways to play League of Legends. And they're kind of showing it right now. So, bottom, top, inner turret, bottom, top. Maybe they're both lanes. I don't know who they're going for. Oh, we're going to come around the backside here. You can see Crepo and Wicked. Can they go in towards Enraged? Yes, they can. Deathmark comes out. Absolute Zero's pop, but he is just going to go down like a sack of spuds right there. And that's going to be another turret picked up. 5-1.
Not the kind of spuds you can make roasters with, unfortunately. But nevertheless, the sack goes down. Another kill in favor of Evil Geniuses. They are playing this perfectly. You know, Enraged played a little bit of a game. He made him think he was going to run. Instead, he challenged that Absolute Zero to try and delay his opponents as best as possible. But this is just EG in complete control. They have timing on Dragon, they have vision for it right now, and they're poised to take it, but it does look like they're backing off.
They don't quite have the timing on it. They're 20 seconds too early, and they kind of like stood around going, should be here, I'm sure it should be here. Where is it? This doesn't seem to be here right now. But everyone backs away quickly and managed to spend a big chunk of that gold. So, 9-3 in kills, 7,000 gold advantage. Evil Genius fans, you should be excited right now because as it is, Fnatic, who are trading places currently with Gambit, they are both 17-4 in the league, trying to hold off that top spot. It looks like Evil Geniuses may well have caught a sneaky chance on them here, and they could manage to pick up a win against Fnatic.
Well, if they do, that'll put Fnatic 17-5 in definite second place. There'll be no question about it. The thing about Fnatic's composition, though, is they do have that Katarina in there, which does really, really well with one good team fight. Currently 1-2-2. If she can get the resets, all of a sudden the damage is there, and you've got a pretty squishy lineup from Evil Geniuses. Zed, Twisted Fate, and Misfortune, if they go down, or one or two of them go down, there's not a lot of damage sources that can clean house from the rest of the team. Whereas Varus and Nasus, they've got a little bit more possibility to clean up.
And there's absolutely no helpful defensive items for any of those at the moment. So yeah, if like you mentioned, if he does get in the right place at the right time, yes, it would be great. But the stun cards are definitely going to go towards him. Snoopy probably going to work towards that flip. You would expect Crepo to go towards him. So I would be amazed, judging, considering he went with that Katarina pick last, with the amount of stuns that are on Evil Geniuses he actually went for in the first place.
Yeah, I agree with that entirely. There's so many ways that he can get interrupted, and Crepo is definitely going to save at least some form of CC for him in those team fights. And, the picker card from Froggen, that's on a 4-second cooldown, so he can open up a fight with that gold card, wait for Pekka to come in, because Pekka's only going to join the fight a little later, and prep that gold card again to lock him down. So it's really, really going to be a lot of pressure on Pekka to keep himself under control, make sure he uses that Death Lotus at the exact right time. If anybody can do it, it is going to be him. But like I said, a lot of pressure on him right now. EG, they're just playing the map. You can see they are split all over. They have vision control, vision superiority over the entirety of this map. And they're just making sure they keep their CS up and keeping the pressure on the Fnatic base so they are forced to defend and react as opposed to, set up plays.
Yeah, as Rivington has pointed out, is a security defense grid now being laid out by Evil Geniuses, and Cyanide may well have walked into it. Snoopy's going to get the flip. No! Quickly turns around. The moment he spots the rest of the team collapsing in towards it, they get the stun guard down on Peke. There's the ultimate going in. He completely stun locks him, and he is going to go down. It's Crepo, scumbag Crepo, picking up the kill, but nevertheless, the work was all done. The stun locks were there, and that's another turret picked up. 6-1 now. They're diving in towards Soaz. Soaz with the death mark on him. Wicked going so deep. Absolute Zero now on towards him. He's tanking up the turret damage. He's taken a lot of damage from Nenrated, but it's not enough. And here comes Evil Geniuses.
The rest of EG collapse on this inhibitor turret. They picked up one in the top lane, the kill and the turret, and they get 50% of the HP down in that mid lane. Their timing and their calls are just so crisp and good right now. You were talking about Scumbag Crepo getting those kills. He's got a Ruby Sightstone and a Locket of the Iron Solari completed already. So that's the second one along with Snoopy's. If they want to dive and pick up fights and kills, that's a lot of shields that Xpeke needs to get through before he can pick up kills.
It's a lot of something to get through, that's for sure. 10-3 right now, the kills, and Evil Genius is looking very, very strong here on week 9 of the LCS here in Europe. 6-1 in turrets, and that equates to 9,000 gold advantage. Just 19.5 minutes into this game. We've seen a bunch of upsets in the North American LCS over week 9. Can we see a bunch more here in the mid lane? as we see Evil Geniuses stacking their way in there. Are they going to go towards Baron? Do they feel they have such a huge advantage that they can just force it?
So they are very strong if they want to pick a fight, but it's going to take a little bit of time before they get that Baron down. So if they decide to do something like that, it's probably going to be more of a bait to pull Fnatic in, trap them, and sink them in the river. In terms of the items, take a look at Yellow Pete. He's gone for Boots of Swiftness right now, so he's going to be flying around this map and kiting absolutely everybody. And without all that much CC and lockdown from his opposing team, that's really going to help him out in these fights. With the vision superiority that EG have, they literally just brute force nuzzle Fnatic out of the jungle and steal away their red buff.
This is setting up beautifully for Super Week right now, which will of course be coming next weekend. It's going to be 20 games once again all over that week, and there's a hell of a lot of top team clashes as well as the relegation fights. There's going to be a hell of a lot of stories for that weekend, but right now it's Evil Geniuses making a story of their own against Fnatic. Can they finally get themselves a win against Fnatic?
Well, it would make them 2-1 if they do secure it, and they're definitely poised to do so. They're in control. They're setting the tempo. They are literally deciding when and where Fnatic can go, and they're picking the fights well. We do have to say that, you know, Crepo's Leona play has also been spot on up in that top lane. It was a flash E that actually set that one up, and perfect Zenith play. The Destiny's down the mid lane.
Snoopy's going to come in as well. It's on towards Pekka. He actually flips him away from his team. The stun didn't quite go through because he took him away from the ultimate there, but it doesn't matter. They got the kill nevertheless. And now that means it's going to be a 4-on-5 situation if Yellow Pete actually gets involved. Instead, it doesn't matter. They're going to go for the turret, and Rated goes to try and pop the absolute zero. Crepo's taking all the damage, but he's not the person. Bullet time hits the entire team, and Fnatic are getting absolutely slaughtered on their own inhibitor turret. Finally, the turret goes down. Crepo's the only man to go down, but it does not matter because Evil Geniuses have taken a 21-minute inhibitor against Fnatic.
And that means that they are now poised to take Baron Nashor. If Yellowstar had hit that chain of corruption, what a different team fight that could have been. But that's not the case. It missed, and it allowed EG to simply destroy the HP bars of the Fnatic roster. With that middle inhibitor down, it means the other lane minions now get additional HP, plus 100 for them, and it's just going to keep Fnatic in their base and farming, while EG say, we'll take your buffs, we'll take Dragon, we'll set up for Baron, and then we're going to push for the win.
Look at the scores across the board for Evil Geniuses. All the kills and all the assists spread out very, very nicely right now. 216 for Snoopy on the bear that doesn't care right now, and that's a big important score because he's been under a lot of pressure lately. We've seen him do his A to Z of junglers, which, you know, you can read in the fact that he was doing a great publicity stunt for him, but he was also doing a simply case of, I need to try and find what jungler I can play right now.
Yeah, it's the truth, and what better way to do it than experiment with each and every single one of them. He actually carried on that A to Z on stream here last week, playing M with Melzahar on the LCS stream. So it worked for him. It's great to see him playing Volibear right now, and bar for that little flip in the mid lane that tossed him out of the Leona ultimate didn't really work into so. The rest of the fights have gone very well though, so you can't really fault him on that particular play. There's a very big item lead now in favor of Evil Geniuses, and we see that Yellow Pete has picked up the Brutalizer. He might be working towards that Ghost Blade as well, and if that is the case, Genji and Yellow Pete are probably going to start the trend for the new MF builds of going for Ghost Blades in solo queue. EG, Oracle's Elixir on, clearing out the vision, and probably setting up for Baron. That's what my gut instinct tells me.
Yeah, they've shoved the top lane, shoved the mid lane. Bottom lane, you can see Soaz is down there, hasn't got Stand United available, and it is going to get started off for Evil Geniuses. You can see the ward in the back there, but are they going to worry about it? They take it down very quickly, and they continue on the Baron. They're going to peel off.
So take a look at this. Frog in his position there. He sees the members of Fnatic pulling in, and this is what we talked about. They're stronger for a team fight, not necessarily to take Baron. They've caught Yellowstar.
They flashed through. They do manage to catch him with that chain of corruption, perfectly poised there. He's going to Destiny in. This is balls deep right now for Froggen. He does use that Zhonya's Hourglass, goes on for the full Messiah treatment. Can he get on towards N-rated? No, he can't. Has to flash through, but very, very aggressive play from Froggen.
Very good, and a calculated aggressive play. Picks up that kill, allows them to carry on chasing, and now they're poised for a 5 versus 4 Baron. The only ultimate that was used in that engagement was Destiny, and it's already a third of the way off cooldown. Soaz did not use Stand United to save his teammate. That says a lot, that the team was simply not willing to pick that fight, even though that it was available. Baron has been started, and it looks like Fnatic are just going to give this one up, because they've got no way to challenge.
There's absolutely nothing they can do about this one. 14-4 now with a Baron picked up for Evil Genius's 12,000 gold advantage, and it's 7-2 in turrets. That bottom turret, bottom lane being shoved in, but Peke, he's been unable to really put himself across this match at all right now. 1-4-2 has been called out a few times. We saw Chain of Corruption, everything coming out from Yellowstar to try and avoid that, but when you have Froggen completely using his ultimate Destiny and on Zhonya's Hourglass ready and waiting to go, and that Lich Bane, there's so much damage coming down onto him, he just could not escape it. So 25 minutes gone, Super Minions being cleared out by Fnatic. That's an inhibitor will be respawning shortly, so it has been a while since they did get in there, but Evil Geniuses, they are fully set and prepped now to just push every single lane.
So once that inhibitor respawns, Evil Geniuses are literally just going to man mode up, walk into the base and take it again, because Fnatic, they can't actually win a straight up 5v5 fight. They are behind in items. They need to catch Evil Geniuses with their pants down before they can win an engagement. They do have the abilities to do that. If Xpeke can jump onto somebody with the Deathfire Grasp, get a full channel on his ultimate, and maybe combo it with some damage from Yellowstar, they can burst down one of the damage sources, but it's up to them to make that happen, while the rest of EG stun lock you with Leona and deal all the damage. So EG is stacked up in this top lane. It is going to be 4 versus 4, while both Twisted Fate and Shen are in the bottom lane, and we'll see whether or not EG want to pick this fight, because they've got a very good dive combo with Leona, with the lockets and the shields.
Well, Froggen going aggressive on towards Soaz there, and a little bit of a back and forth, and it's Soaz that came out worse off there, despite managing to poke on towards him. Evil Genius is pushing in towards the top. Of course, it is a Baron up Froggen, so expect to see him putting a lot of damage down. He's just going to pick up the blue, and then as soon as he's ready and waiting, they're going to Destiny in. It's going to be that mid lane Super Minion wave stacking in there. You can see Yellowstar's going to have to deal with it.
So I don't think Fnatic have got one of their buffs for 10 plus minutes, as you've seen that blue stolen away. Up in the top lane now, so Wicked is trying to find a way that he can jump in for a fight, and that Deathmark is really going to help him out. In the bottom lane, Soaz is forced so low.
Well, you can also see, so oh, he's going to have to shadow dash away from that, and the rest of Evil Geniuses, they're pushing in. The inhibitor has respawned, but the Super Minions are there. Here comes Froggen, he's going to join the party, and Evil Geniuses, they are dancing on the graves right now of Fnatic. Can they get in towards there? They do manage to take down another inhibitor. They're going to spin around. That bottom turret, that's got pressured in there. The top turret, they can go anywhere they like, and right now, they are really leading a merry dance for Fnatic.
Yeah, Ringa Rosie is the call, and they're finding the towers that they want to make drop like a posy. And right now, 4 members of EG, they've just rolled back up to the top lane. Destiny's still available for Froggen, and it's so clear that Soaz cannot 1v1 him right now. He's prioritized HP and armor, and Froggen's not dealing any physical damage there. So he's just going to chunk down this tower. A third of its HP is lost. The rest of EG up in the top lane,
Wow.
but Peke might want to force a fight.
Well, Froggen proving that Twisted Fate really can do front door as well as back door right there, absolutely destroying that inhibitor turret. And it is the rest of Evil Geniuses pushing in this top. But this Baron buff, it hasn't got too much longer left to it. They need to start taking these turrets down.
Well, they're doing relatively well. They've got an inhibitor out of it. They've got their bottom tower very, very low. And you just feel that EG are waiting for the misstep. They're waiting for it to go down. So bottom tower is going to drop now. And look at the rest of EG. They're rolling through the middle. This signals we want this inhibitor and we want to be stacked, because we can win the fights. You cannot. Look for Wicked to jump in if Yellowstar gets anywhere near the range of Deathmark.
Remember, he has got that Zhonya's Hourglass, and we're expecting Froggen to go full-on aggressive here. He can just get straight into them and try and draw out some of the aggression. You can see the poke. It's Crepo, though, that's taking it. He's quite happy to take that damage. They keep, again, getting shot after shot from Yellow Pete, poking back and forward. Soaz goes a little deep. Snoopy gets another swing on that inhibitor. They just get more hits, and they're just going to keep on poking it down. It's gone.
So the inhibitor is down. EG there may have picked the fight if they wanted to, but they're playing the controlled EG that we know. They get the map control, they take the objectives one by one by one, and they make sure everything is at their time and at their leisure. The Dragon is available, as are a number of jungle camps. They're just going to deny even more CS and experience from their opponents. And if you look at the gold, Froggen's currently sitting on 3,500 gold to spend. He may actually decide to go for a death cap next to, finish off that Lich Bane and Hourglass combo.
You know what? We talked about the stats at the top of the show, but honestly, Froggen 407 answering perfectly right now against the questions we put towards him about his fight versus Peke, and proving that he's definitely much higher in that KDA and he really should be in the stats-wise. So, Yellow Star, he's cleared out the top, but Froggen, he continues to steal away the blues.
So I definitely want to touch on that because of the fact that we talked about how EG, they need that synergy. They need to be on the same page for their players to really stomp. And individually, they're all fantastic. But if they're not performing well together, that's why they don't have wins. And right now, with the focus that we've heard from the players, with the renewed solo queue practice, you have Wicked 305, Froggen 407. The playmakers can now make plays because the rest of the team is playing the same game as them. They're all on the same page, they're all moving as one, and we've seen it time and time and time again throughout every single engagement this game. They've had Fnatic's number, and right now the number is you lose.
Some would suggest if you actually practice and play the game that you are being paid to play, you win.
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed?
That's shocking news.
Who would have thought? But as it is, Evil Geniuses, they are sitting on top of a potential win here. But we've seen big throws, and we're at the 30-minute mark. Remember, SK Gaming, they've done it a number of times against Fnatic. They can sneak in, but they have a long, long way to go to try and catch in there. The damage getting poked towards Frog, and you can see Yellow Star, he's going to be the key into this one. We've seen it so many times. He can keep that damage down, and they are trying to defend their final inhibitor. Can they keep Evil Geniuses away from this now the Baron buff's worn off?
Well, we'll have to see when they decide to engage because they have super minions in the middle, super minions in the bottom. They can't defend the top, and EG may want to pick up a kill here. Cyanide's gone in.
He's gone in. Crapper's used the defensive. There's going to be the chain of corruption, but Misfortune just turns around. Yellow Pete does get caught out. Yellow Pete's going to go down. He does manage to get caught out. Peke gets in there, gets one, gets a reset, gets a second. Can he get the third? It doesn't matter because Froggen's backdoored, and he's taken down 2 Nexus turrets. He's not going to be able to quite get this. Nexus surely to God. He can't get away to this one. He's going to get taken down. So the minions are on the Nexus. He does go down, but the minions are going to take it. He's got it. I do not believe what Froggen just did. He's just done a Peke on Peke.
Evil Genius have lost it. Look at them. They are jumping. They are screaming. There are going to be tears of joy in the Geniuses camp because that was a genius play. Peke, he created it, but right now Froggen perfected it.
Absolute brilliant play, and Froggen proving why many say he is the best in the world, and really putting his mark out there, I think I would say.